So why don't we call this meeting of the Longfellow School Building Committee to order? I don't know if I don't think we have to do introductions. Have you done them at the last meeting? I think I probably ask you this every time. Too many meetings, and every meeting's done a little differently. So people on the screen can see everybody who's here. Some members of the committee, some staff, some with the architects. We're going to, because we don't have a quorum right now, we're not going to take up our first item or part of our first item, which is the approval of the last meeting minutes. We'll do that later in the meeting or at our next one. So we'll go to project update. Mark, is that you?
I'll start it up here. Councilor Mavronis, thank you very, very much. And I'll be joined by my colleague Lisa Sawin on really the substance of our update, and just to bring everyone up to speed. Appreciate everyone taking the time to join us this evening. And we, as our co-chair said, we've got just two, other than the approval of the minutes, we just have two items. We've identified them as agenda items 3 and 4, the project update and the next steps. And so that's what we'll cover here. There's a little overlap between the two, but since our last meeting,
we don't see your screen.
You can't see my screen. Well, that can be changed. I appreciate that. Thank you.
We can now.
Excellent. Thank you very, very much. So these are our agenda items. Appreciate that. And so we'll dig right in here. Since our last meeting, it's really, we'd have the results of the bid, I believe. And so we've been working on the contract, holding a construction meeting with the contractor, working with Terry and company to understand some of the phasing and the move plans, as well as a lot of site logistics of all the things that are going to happen on the site. And so with that, I'll move to the first item, whoops, for this direction. And then Lisa can kind of bring us through what's been going on and where we are.
Mark, do you want to revisit the design statement like you did for the other?
I would love to, because I think this is so appropriate. It's a great design statement that grounds us in the project, and that's really nurturing the roots of community to grow the hearts and minds of learners for a dynamic world. And so it's always kind of fun to reflect on preparing students for a dynamic world as we get through this part of the school season, and students are either moving up to the next grade level, or in the case of several, graduating and moving on to a whole bunch of interesting life opportunities and challenges. And so it all starts with every day of every school year. So with that, now Lisa can guide us through a conversation of what's going on.
It's a great statement for us to read to Terry as we go through all the moving and logistics and stressful nature of construction. So we'll revisit that with you often, Terry, and remind us all of why we're doing this, and keep our perspective. We'll go through the update here. The school board ratified the contract with Blaine Casey that has been executed. They are starting to pull all the parts and pieces together and get prepared for construction. We received planning board approval on May 4th. We've had several meetings with Principal Terry Young to talk about logistics. We were out on the site the other day walking the grounds to provide a clear picture on how the contractor and the building occupants will coexist on the site. Everything from areas on the site for play and student access, as well as parking, and how all of that will flesh out over the next couple of years. We continue to meet on a weekly basis with the district facilities department, the owner's rep, and the architectural team to make sure we have all our I's dotted and T's crossed, and we are ready for construction. The pre-construction meeting occurred on May 13th. And so the pre-construction meeting really goes over the logistics of all of the happenings during construction, as well as communication. Communication's key, so making sure that everyone understands who's what the line of communication is, who's responsible for different aspects of the project, and really just making sure that we're building the foundation for a great team through this whole process. We, as mentioned before, are working on the construction management plan and traffic control plan. It was part of a permit requirement. So we've just circulated a draft to different entities to get that blessed by the city. And we are working through logistics of getting the portables on site for the first phase of construction. So we'll be out on the site next week, walking through with the vendor and the contractor on that. And targeting a ceremonial groundbreaking for fall of this coming fall of 2021. So construction will start this summer. So don't want to confuse this with the start of construction. Construction will start right after school. And the groundbreaking is more of the celebration of kind of honoring the start of construction and that huge milestone. So we want to make sure that we have plenty of time to plan that. As well as wait until school starts back up and we can get through, getting Terry and his staff comfortable with the fact that they're going to be living with construction, let all that work itself out, and then be able to take the time to celebrate this huge milestone.
So we'll pause here if there are any questions or comments on what's going on right now.
Any questions, anyone? Put your hand up if you happen to have any, or jump in. I don't see anyone.
Well, just pause another second here. I think Jeff just joined us, so Jeff can kind of read through the slide here. Some of our team may have missed. Good evening, Jeff.
Hi, thanks. No, this looks fine. Thank you for waiting. Right.
Super. I think one of the things that's been really helpful is going through all the aspects of operationally how the construction is going to work on the site, and there's been a few modifications, just ensuring that we had the contractor shift their fence in order to allow students to be able to access play area from the building, and so that's been really helpful. Just understanding again how we're separating construction activity safely from the student activity, and also ensuring there's going to be an impact to parking definitely in the area, and just trying to work out the lowest impact possible for all those activities that consume a pretty restricted small site. So the next slide is our next steps, which we're underway with construction, I guess, with the contractor in many respects, and so there's not sort of what will end up being is the ramping up of their work, the mobilization on site that'll occur after the students are done with this academic school year. And so that'll be coming up shortly, the mobilization. And we have, in the broader schedule of things, we have a DABC, the next scheduled DABC meeting, which is always on the third Thursday of the month, is going to be a tour of the Lyseth project. So that's kind of exciting that they're finally getting to the point where we're able to see a lot of the improvements that were made with that project and the additions and interior renovations, and the last phase 3, will occur this summer. So that's the wrap up to that work. So next school year, this fall, Lyseth will be done in part with a substantial amount of the construction. So that's pretty exciting. The next time this group we're scheduled to meet is on June 24th. So at that time, we'll have a little more of an understanding of activities that are going on the site, and just provide an update of those and anything else that's transpired in this month. But that'll be the fourth Thursday of June. It'll be here before we know it, but I don't want to rush it. So we have a nice long weekend now before that, and then we have our groundbreaking scheduled right now for the fall of the this next school year. So right now the thinking is that that'll be the ceremonial groundbreaking. So we'll look to see what the timing works best after the initial effort to launch the school year, and things usually get a lot of effort and time devoted to that. So we want to make sure that we do it at an appropriate time that's not competing with all those things. And so it'll be great. We'll actually be able to see some of the work. I think by that time, it'll be a great opportunity for us to celebrate it really becoming reality. And with that, I'll pause again if there are any questions.
Does anyone have questions? Put your hand up if you do, please. And I am not seeing anyone. Is there anybody waving that didn't have their hand up? We do. Bill Dodson.
Thanks, Nick. And thanks, Mark. This sounds really great. Exciting that we're on track. And I'm just kind of curious if we should or could participate or listen in or somehow observe some of these other things, like the tour of Lyseth. I don't know if that would be appropriate for us to just kind of be there as an observer, or some kind of pre-construction meetings that have already happened. I'm just kind of wondering what our role could or should be now that we have traction.
Yeah, that's. I'm with respect to the DABC meeting and the tour of Lyseth. I'll maybe let the district weigh in on that one.
Yeah, I would. This is the first time that we're actually making it available. We're making it available to the DABC and the school building level advisory committee. We will have a formal grand opening of the school in the fall, around the same time as we're planning to have the formal groundbreakings for the 3 new schools under construction. And obviously at that time, anyone in the community will be welcome to come in and visit Lyseth as part of the groundbreaking. This has been a complicated year. We would have normally had the tour along the way, and we haven't you can see the schedule is scheduled for after school is out because we don't have visitors coming into the buildings and so on. So we can, if you're interested over the summer, we can probably arrange for you to come and visit and so on, but probably not. It's not manageable to have what would be, roughly 100 people coming to this tour at the time. That's assuming that everybody who is a member of one of the other BLACs would also join us.
Thanks, Javier. I don't know if Mark or Lisa, you want to weigh in. My experience being on some of these committees in the past is, once the contract has been awarded and some of the work gets started, the committee meets less, or it's kind of in fits and starts. So do you guys want to elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. I think what we have seen on the license one is sort of we periodically provide updates as we see progress. I think a couple things that Bill, I think would be probably appreciated is as we get closer to the groundbreaking, the ceremonial groundbreaking, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of excitement around that, and that'll become a community celebration of it. So that's certainly one aspect that there's probably an opportunity for engagement in planning for that. And then I think as we go through construction, I think we'll provide updates and periodically there may be opportunities for us to conduct tours of areas of the building that are safe and renovated, and because it's going to be such a long sequence, it'll be great to be able to take people through. And now, again, hopefully, we are in a position next year where we can safely occupy the buildings at times to go through and at periodic moments see the progress with the building level advisory committee.
Yeah,
Thanks for that.
That all makes sense. Thank you, guys. I, just want to make sure I'm participating in the way that's expected, and always curious to see how it's going. And tangential question: I assume parents at Longfellow, all the parents already know that this is all imminent.
Terry, do you want to talk about communication?
Yes, I've been communicating throughout. I did talk to a kindergarten to be parent yesterday, and she was surprised that it was already happening. But no, I've been sending communications throughout. And I'll send a detailed communication once we have a plan for when we return in the fall.
Got it. Thanks.
Terry, I'm not sure what you put out, it may be part of a larger newsletter, but committee members who don't have kids at the school might find that interesting. And I don't know if that's something you could share, if that would be appropriate.
Sure.
And it just occurred to me based on the questions that we should probably do something like that in our community staff and community bulletin that is going out weekly for the last few weeks, but we'll revert back to twice a month in the near future. So we should probably do a broader update on just where we are with construction, particularly after Reiki comes in next week, and we'll have a better sense of what that project is looking like. So I do think that we can do that.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you. Eva, you have your hand up?
I do. Thank you. So, excuse me, I haven't seen the construction plan, so to speak, and I'm just wondering, will families have access to the playground over the summer during the construction?
Based on what I've seen, yes.
Okay.
Based on when we walk the grounds and where the fencing will go, I think we'll never lose access to the playground.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Anyone else have any questions? I am not. Eva,
Terry's already ready for construction.
Pardon?
I said Terry's already ready for construction. He's got the plans memorized.
Eva, your hand's still up. Is that just left from before?
Yeah, I'll take it down.
Great, thanks. Anyone else have any questions?
Terry, do you have a hard hat yet? We'll make sure you get one.
I do not have a hard hat.
Anything else, Mark or Lisa or Javier and your team or Terry?
Just to enjoy a nice long weekend, everyone, and kind of official start to summer. We've all earned it.
Certainly have.
And let's just make a note of needing to approve those minutes for
the next one.
Yeah.
Unless somebody has something else, then I think we can adjourn and have a great weekend, everyone, and we'll good luck with the rest of the school year, and we'll see you next month.